Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Lenzy Ruffin of Park Road Studios. Lenzy, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely super excited to have you on. And before we jumped into the interview, I want to read a little bit more about Lenzy so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Lenzy is a video communication strategist and owner of Park Road Studios in Washington, D.C. He specializes in teaching small business owners how to use video marketing to attract clients. Lenzy, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
I am ready. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's do it then. So to kind of kick everything off, I wanted to rewind the clock a little bit and hear a little bit more on what I like to call your CEO story. We'll let you get started with all the awesome work you're doing.
Sure. My background is actually IT. My degrees are in information systems. And it was one of those situations where I got to the top of the mountain and didn't like the view. I just hit the wall and burned out, and I had to change course entirely. And photography had been a hobby of mine for some time by that point. So it was the only other skill I had that I could actually make money with. So I started a headshot business. And in the process of that, I learned that you need to know marketing. It wasn't enough to be able to produce these great images. You have to make people aware that you exist and why they should hire you. So that's how I started down the path of educating myself about marketing and then video, and they kind of combined together. And so I was doing video marketing to promote my photography business. And along the way, I found out that I was actually really good at helping other business owners use video to communicate about their business. And so it started as kind of like a little side hustle within my photography business. And then it got to the point where it just became a business unto itself. And I actually enjoyed it more than the photography business. I enjoyed the business aspects of the video communications business more than I enjoyed the business aspects of the photography business. So I changed direction, which allowed me to put photography back as my hobby, which is what I really wanted all along. And now I help small business owners use video to communicate more effectively with their target audience about what they do.
Nice. I definitely appreciate that. And even like I think so many times we don't respect or remind ourselves of the evolution of ourselves and our businesses and how things change. And kind of it sounds like you've been able to be ahead of the curve as video marketing is becoming really important and probably so necessary for business owners to be able to kind of communicate what they do. But I think so many times I hear people say that at least I think two of the most foundational skills you can learn are IT and marketing, because I think no matter what business in, you're going to be leaning on both of those. So it's great to hear you have that foundation in the business that you have now too.
Yeah, and I would say the number one, the most foundational skill that anyone can develop is communication. And that's what I'm teaching people how to do, is how to communicate more effectively via video. Warren Buffett has said that, been saying that for decades, that communication is the highest paying skill. And if you think about it, regardless of industry, the people who communicate better make more money than the people who communicate less effectively. I don't care. It even offsets skill. You can have a less skilled person who's a more effective communicator, and they will out earn the person who's, the guru at whatever industry, but doesn't know how to communicate with people. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on now. What I do now is teach people how to communicate more effectively, use video to deliver a more effective message in front of many more people. And that is a skill that most people can make money with.
Yeah, I appreciate you for making that, that distinguishing that, because I think you're absolutely right. We get so sometimes stuck on the tools by which we use, then the core foundational skill that you mentioned, that communication skill. And like sometimes we forget that we're communicating with our target clients, but we're also communicating with people on our team. And the better you can quote unquote refine that skill, the better off you'll be able to earn and reach your goals and see that success. So I love that you do that. And I know you touched a little bit upon like how you work with your clients and how you serve them. Could you drill down a little bit more and tell us a little bit more on that and how that process goes?
So yeah, it starts with, I tell everybody, I need you to have two things. You need to have your ideal client in mind. You need to know who that person is and understand their pain points and their ambitions. And two, you have to have some expertise that is valuable to that client and can help them get where they want to go. You have to be the best in the world, at least in your mind, you have to have a solution that's best in class for that ideal client. And when you know who you're talking to and you have something that legitimately will help them get where they're trying to go, now it's just about communicating that effectively. And when when your intent for your business is really to help people, not let me go make as much money as possible, but how do I apply these skills, these gifts, these talents that I have to helping a specific client achieve what they're trying to achieve in their life? If you start with that focus, the money will come. So what I help people do is when you have that intent, when you have that ideal client, you have those skills and you have that intent to actually help these people achieve the life that they want to achieve. Now it's just a matter of communicating that effectively, bringing your personality out in front of the camera. And when you do that, this is how you sell without selling. You don't have to try to convince people to buy stuff. They can see your sincerity. They can see how genuine you are. They can see that you really are offering something that will benefit them. And when you do that, people contact you looking to buy rather than you having to try to convince people to that you want to that they want to buy something from you. Instead of you trying to sell, they contact you looking to buy.
Yeah, that's huge, so huge, and I think sometimes you hear the word like attraction marketing, and I love that because those two foundational questions that you kind of talked about, who you're trying to target, what, and I think we forget this so much in business is we get caught up in so many different things like what problem are you solving, and I think if you're able to, as you said so well, be able to understand who you're talking with, who you're communicating with, and know how you're solving that problem, people can begin to see themselves in that problem or understand those pain points. And it sounds like they'll definitely be beating down the door, so to speak, to be able to talk with you.
Exactly. Just marketing in my mind is just about painting the picture that your ideal client wants to see themselves in. If you do that, they're going to contact you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, would you consider that to be what I call your secret sauce, the thing you feel kind of sets you apart or your business apart and makes it unique? Is it that ability to I think, feel and understand exactly what the potential clients want to know and see, be able to kind of translate that via video?
Actually, yeah, I've learned that I can see things that other people don't. I often, when I have a consultation with a small business owner, they leave feeling that I've I communicate about their business more effectively than they do. Because when they tell me what it is they do, okay, now I understand. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a guy who's a mechanic. He has a auto repair business, but it's really so much more than that. Because I asked him, how do you differentiate yourself? His garage is everywhere. I can take my car anywhere. And when he started explaining the different things that he does, I said, okay, so you don't fix cars. What you do is deliver a carefree vehicle ownership experience,
Mm,
because his business, they will come to your house to pick your car up. They service all models, makes and models. So Ford, Honda, Toyota, they do exotic cars. They handle insurance claims. They do body work. So if you're a family that has 4 or 5 cars, or you have exotic cars and you're a busy person, you the more people who have a lot of money don't have a lot of time. Showing them how you can save them time is how you can get their business. Showing them how you can make their life simpler is how you can get their business. And that's the clientele he's targeting. So I told him, let's not talk about that you charge 125 an hour and the dealer charges 145 or whatever the numbers are. That's not relevant to those people. What's relevant is that if something goes wrong with their car, they can call one number and get their problems taken care of. You'll come pick up the car, you're going to service it, you be proactive on service, you bring it back, and that problem is completely solved without them having to do anything. So you are delivering and you can do that for as many cars as they have in their family. You can just deliver a carefree vehicle ownership experience. People pay for experiences and transformations. Any amount of money you ask for, if you're able to deliver an experience, if you're able to deliver a transformation, people will pay you. And the skill that I have, the secret sauce, as you put it, is helping business owners determine what is the experience or what is the transformation that they deliver and how to communicate that. because that's the thing that the consumer is paying for. We don't buy stuff because we want the thing itself. We're trying to use that thing to get us somewhere. Well, if you describe that destination that they're trying to arrive at and show how what you offer helps them get there, you don't have to sell that. They're going to ask you how much. And that's my secret sauce.
I absolutely appreciate it and love that breakdown because I think so many times, like we've been talking about, you get so caught into our products and services and what we're doing. As you said, I love that dealer example. We're 10% less, or we're a lot quicker, or whatever it is. But if you really drill down to quote unquote the human psychology and understand your target market, understand what they're looking for, what they value, as you said so well, you really see how you can bridge that gap and tell them and show them that transformation and that experience that you kind of talked about. So absolutely love that you're able to kind of see that and kind of communicate better than sometimes we can about our businesses and what we do. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit. And I want to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
I'll give you two. One of them, the one book is called The One Thing by Gary Keller. And I love that book because it teaches you, it has a methodology for helping you eliminate all of the things that will waste your time and not help you actually achieve your big life goal. Uh, that's my number one book to recommend for anybody. And if I could only recommend one book for the rest of my life, that's that book. Number two is Calendly, the appointment scheduling app. So many people are still wasting so much time with what about this day? What about this time dance? We have tools that make you not have to do that anymore. I consider Calendly like my first hire, the first employee, because it takes a very important task that was uh, always a problem. Just this time wasted trading these emails. It takes that very important job and it just gets taken care of. It just gets done. And it saves me so much time. It's so much more efficient. Here's a link to my calendar, find something that's open and it pops up on on my calendar and I'm done. So those two things, the one thing by Gary Keller and Calendly, the appointment scheduling tool.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate that. I love how you put that, is that that's your first hire, because I think so many times we forget, as we kind of talked about before, when we're able to kind of lean on hacks and technology, it really saves us so much time so that we can spend
Yeah.
more time in our zone of genius and understanding what that zone of genius is, the things that will actually make an impact. That's why I love that one thing. That's one of my absolute favorite books as well too. And really being able to drill down on a thing that's really going to move the needle for it and not get lost in the noise and all the things that don't really make that big of an impact. So absolutely love both of those hacks.
Yep.
And I wanted to ask you now for what I call a CEO nugget. So this could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell a client, or if you hopped into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Pearl of wisdom, you have to embrace marketing. You have to understand marketing and sales, and they're two different things. Marketing is making people aware you exist. Sales is closing the deal when they contact you. You you have to promote your business. It is not enough to make the world's greatest cupcakes or the world's greatest whatever. If you are not making people know you exist on a regular basis, you're not setting yourself up to have a successful business. And marketing is not something that you do when you get motivated to do it. Marketing is an everyday activity. If you want your phone to ring every day, you have to be marketing every day, because we all have a sales cycle. And this is going to be new information for some people. It was not something that I knew going into it. Sales cycle. There's this time from when people come to know you exist until they decide to make the purchase from you. And activities have to happen, in the interim. They have to keep seeing you. You have to continue to deliver value. You have to continue showing up so that on the day they need the thing that you sell, they will contact you. The analogy I draw is, not exactly, is a real world example. Plumbers. Nobody needs a plumber until they do. So if you want to be the plumber who gets that phone call when the toilet breaks, you have to market yourself regularly, not a couple of times a year, or whenever you feel like it. Marketing is an everyday task So you have to incorporate this into your business. And this is how you consistently, the dry spell that you're experiencing today is from the marketing that you did not do 6 months ago. So just understand, you have to do this every day. You have to sow these seeds every day if you want to get a harvest every day.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate that example. And I think as we kind of talked about, technology, I love that you mentioned the sales and marketing piece as well, too, because so many times people think that when they hear your business, hear what it is that they do, they buy right there. But sometimes those things, take 6 months, take a year, sometimes take longer. And understanding the cycle and that process and the things that you can do to kind of stay top of mind is huge when that problem, does arise. And I think so many business owners kind of forget about that aspect and forget about like everybody who hears and knows about your business is not going to buy from you. So you have to really play and understand to get and reach more people. And some of those small portions will call you. Some of those small portions of that will become your clients and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, Lenzy, truly appreciate that. And wanted to ask you now my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So, Lenzy, what does being a CEO mean to you?
It means freedom. It means self-fulfillment. As the CEO, you have the opportunity to, at least for me, what it means is I am able to deliver the maximum value that I'm capable of delivering to the world with no impediments. I don't have to, like when I had regular W-2 jobs, I used to be so frustrated about the morning times are my best times. Like before 11 o'clock, that's when I'm sharpest mentally, and I can really do some serious problem solving, and I have a capacity to solve really big problems when I can just focus on something and grind away at it. And I would always be frustrated because I have managers interfering and disrupting my ability to deliver the maximum value that I was capable of. Well, as a CEO, you don't have that. You get to determine what you're going to work on, when you're going to work on it, how long you're going to work on it. And so now you have an opportunity to maximize your potential to improve the world in whatever way it is you do it. And that's what being a CEO means to me is maximizing your contribution, or having the opportunity to maximize your contribution to the world.
Yeah, and that's huge. And I always think about, being a quote unquote CEO, entrepreneur, business owner, whatever title we might use, is kind of being like an artist. And I love that you use that example about, being able to kind of understand how best you work personally and able to build a business around that to be as efficient as possible. And I think when we start to realize that we're like artists and we have these tools that are, at our disposal to be able to create the vision that we have the impact that we want to have, you begin to feel that freedom, that ownership, that responsibility to really make sure that comes to fruition. So I love, that definition.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your time even more. What I wanted to do is just pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you're working on.
Sure. I want to encourage everyone to excuse me, create a business development day for yourself. Build this into your schedule. There's a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. And that book is so important that I wish you couldn't even get a business license without reading that book, walking in with a copy of that book in your hand, because most people will start a business when really all they do is create a job. They've created a business that doesn't operate without them having direct intervention in everything. So you don't have a business, you have a job. You can't walk away, you can't take vacation, you can't sell it to somebody because it doesn't work without you. So one of the things that you can do to not put yourself on that path is to have a business development day where you're going to work on your business, not in it. So this is a day where you're not going to take client appointments. You're not going to do anything that just keeps you where you are. This is a day where you're having the conversations or doing the work or whatever it entails to move your business in the direction that you want it to go, rather than just servicing the clients and the workload that you already have. the earlier you build this into your schedule, the better off you will be. And it's really critical for the growth of your business, because if all you ever do is work in your business, you're going to hit a limit. There's a revenue limit. There's a limit of hours in the day. You can't hire people. There's so many things that only can be done by the CEO. And if you're in the weeds working in your business all day, every day, nobody is doing the CEO tasks, and the CEO is focused on growth and moving the business into a particular direction. You have to make time for that. You have to have energy for that. And the way you do that, going back to the one thing, the book from Gary Keller, you have to block out that time and protect it. This is the time where I work on my business, not when I work in it. And that's one simple thing that many people can do to set themselves up for much greater success.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that, Lenzy. And for people that want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to
Oh,
do that?
sure. Visit me on the web at parkroadstudios.com, PARKROAD studios with an S at the end.com. And yeah, you can find me there, and also on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Lenzy Ruffin. And yeah, I'm happy to talk to anyone.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Truly appreciate that, Lenzy. We will have the links and information in the show notes. I love that last piece about the one thing, and I love like requiring that to be read before you get a business license, because it's such an impactful book. And I think, everything, that you do as well too is extremely impactful. I automatically think of that question of like, if a tree falls in the forest but nobody's around, does it really make a sound? And I think so many times, as you said so well, when we're doing really great things, but we're not able to tell people what it is that we do and communicate that, are we really making the impact that we could? So I love that you bridge that gap and help people to take their excellence and their expertise, their gifts, and bring that to fruition. And I appreciate you, of course, for taking some time out and spending some time with us today, providing so much value. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I appreciate you.